When Montgomery Clift left Marlon Brando's house, his hands were shaking. It was past midnight on May 12, 1956. Brando had just taught him something forbidden by the actor's studio. Marry your trauma. Clift got into his car, his mind confused, and drove into the dark streets of Beverly Hills. The sound of the engine, Brando's words, his own heartbeat, all echoed in his head. Marry your trauma. Don't reject it. Embrace it. Get inside it. Disappear. Clift stepped on the gas. It was too fast, too dark, too late. Then a tree, the sound of metal, glass shattering. When Montgomery Clift's face hit the steering wheel, Hollywood's most handsome actor was gone in an instant. And Elizabeth Taylor, the first to hear the crash and run to the scene, would be haunted for the rest of her life by what she saw. Clift's face was unrecognizable, his teeth stuck in his throat, and he was whispering. Marlon was right. Trauma found me. If you're curious about Hollywood's darkest secrets and the deadly limits of method acting, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It was 9 o'clock, and there was a small gathering at Marlon Brando's home in Laurel Canyon. Montgomery Clift, Kevin McCarthy, and a few close friends. Elizabeth Taylor was hosting dinner at her own home that night, and Clift was going there, but he wanted to visit Brando first. The two actors were close friends, both pioneers of method acting, both shining stars of Hollywood. But that night, something was different. Clift seemed tense, restless, and Brando noticed it. Brando had recently watched Clift's performances, A Place in the Sun, From Here to Eternity, masterpieces. But Brando saw something Clift couldn't see. Clift was hiding his pain. Method acting was about using pain, but Clift was suppressing it, keeping it under control, afraid of it. And Brando knew that fear would destroy Clift. Brando pulled Clift aside to a quiet corner of the living room. "Monty, I need to talk to you," Brando said, his voice low and serious. Clift nodded, waited. Brando lit his cigarette, thought for a moment, then began to speak. "You're using the method wrong. Strasberg taught you to manage your pain. Find it, control it, apply it to the character. But that's not enough, because controlling it still means fearing it. You're afraid of your pain, Monty, and fear kills your performance." Clift's face changed. He went on the defensive. "I use my pain, Marlon. I use it in every scene." Brando shook his head. "No. You use it, but you don't own it. The difference is this. Using it is distant. Owning it is close. I'm going to teach you something else. Something Strasberg never mentioned. Marry your trauma." Clift's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Brando leaned forward, his voice becoming a whisper. "Lee tells you to find your pain, but then he wants you to control it. I'm telling you, let go of control. Surrender to your pain. Marry it. Make it the center of your life. Don't run from it. Run to it. Because the deepest level of the method isn't managing pain, it's being pain." Clift's breath caught. It sounded dangerous, forbidden. "But what if I lose myself?" Brando smiled, but the smile was cold. "Then you become a real actor, because losing yourself is the only way to find yourself." When Clift left Brando's house that night, his mind was filled with that conversation. Marry the trauma. Let go of control. Become the pain. He tried to understand the meaning of the words, but he was also afraid, because Clift's trauma ran deep, his homosexuality, the identity he hid in Hollywood, his family's rejection, the industry's pressure. For years, he had kept that trauma locked away, buried in a box. But now Brando was telling him to open the box, release the trauma, become one with it. Clift got into his car, a sleek 1950s Chevrolet, and started the engine. His destination was clear, Elizabeth Taylor's house in Coldwater Canyon for dinner. But his mind was elsewhere, on Brando's words, on that forbidden technique. His hands trembled as he gripped the steering wheel. The road was dark, winding, dangerous. But Clift didn't notice, because his mind was elsewhere, inside his trauma, as Brando said, letting go of control, surrendering. Then came a curve. Sharp, tight, dark. Clift tried to turn, but it was too late. Or maybe he never turned at all. Perhaps in that moment, subconsciously, he made a decision to surrender to the trauma, to live it, to become one with it. The car veered off the road, hit a telephone pole, then a tree. The sound was horrific. Metal crumpled. Glass shattered. The engine stopped. Montgomery Clift had hit the steering wheel, his face crushed by the force of the impact. His jaw was broken, his nose shattered, his teeth broken and lodged in his throat. Blood was everywhere, and Clift was unconscious, but alive. Barely. Taylor was at home having dinner with guests, Rock Hudson, Kevin McCarthy, and others. Clift hadn't arrived, and Taylor was worried. Then they heard the crash, a distant thudding noise. McCarthy stood up. That was close. They all ran outside, climbed the hill, and saw it. Clift's car down the road, crashed into a tree, wrecked. Taylor screamed and started running. His heels broke off, but he didn't care. He ran barefoot, stumbled on the winding road, fell, got up, and when he reached the wreckage, what he saw took his breath away. Clift was slumped over the steering wheel, his face covered in blood, not moving. Taylor tried to open the car door, but it was jammed. He broke the window, climbed inside, checked Clift's neck. There was a pulse, weak, but there. Then he noticed. Clift couldn't breathe. Something was in his throat. Taylor stuck his hand in Clift's mouth and pulled it out. 2 teeth, broken, lodged in his throat. Clift coughed, spat blood, opened his eyes. He looked at Taylor, but didn't recognize him. His lips moved. He whispered, "Marlon." Marlon was right. The ambulance arrived. Clift was taken to the hospital. The doctors were in shock. His face was completely shattered. His jaw was broken, his nose crushed, his cheekbones fractured, his lips torn. Plastic surgery would be necessary, perhaps 10 operations, maybe more. But the real damage wasn't physical, it was psychological. Because Montgomery Clift, Hollywood's most handsome actor, would never have the same face again. And that face was his identity, his career, his power. Now it was gone. It was early in the morning, around 3 o'clock, when the phone rang while Brando was asleep. Kevin McCarthy was calling, his voice panicked. "Marlon, Monty's been in an accident. Bad. Really bad." Brando woke up, frozen. "What? When?" McCarthy explained. On his way to Taylor's house, he'd veered off the road, hit a tree, his face shattered. Brando hung up the phone and just sat there, in the dark, in the silence. His mind went back to that night, to the conversation in the living room, to the technique he had taught. Marry the trauma. Let go of control. Surrender. He had said those words, and Clift had listened. And now, Clift was in the hospital, his face gone, his career in jeopardy. Something inside Brando broke, because he realized, should he not have taught that technique? Was Clift ready? Or had Brando pushed him over the edge? Brando couldn't sleep that night. He went to the hospital in the morning but didn't go inside. He waited outside, smoked, thought. When Taylor came out, he saw Brando. There was something on his face, guilt, fear, regret. "Marlon, why aren't you going in?" Taylor asked. Brando couldn't answer, because the answer was complicated. He blamed himself. He had taught that technique, the forbidden technique, and Clift had tried it. And he was gone, completely gone, in an accident, in a second. Brando whispered, "Liz, I told him something, last night, a technique, and I think I ruined him." Taylor looked at him in shock. "What did you say?" But Brando didn't answer. He just turned and walked away. He underwent 10 surgeries. His face was rebuilt, but it was never the same. Scar tissue remained. Asymmetry remained. The old beauty was gone. And Clift, whose career depended on his face, could no longer get the same roles. He starred in Suddenly last summer, but his performance lacked its former sharpness. In The Misfits, he was a shadow of himself. He was nominated for an Oscar for Judgment at Nuremberg, but didn't win. Because everyone could see, Clift was broken. And the break wasn't just physical, it was psychological too. Because that night, the technique Brando taught him, marrying the trauma, had opened something inside Clift. And that opening had swallowed him. Alcohol, drugs, depression. It all accelerated after that crash. And in 1966, at 45, Clift died. Heart attack, the official report said. But everyone knew. Clift had begun dying 10 years earlier on the night of that crash. For years, Brando didn't talk about Clift. The press asked, biographers investigated, but Brando kept his lips sealed. Until the 1990s, when, old and sick, he tearfully recounted that day in an interview. "I taught Monty something, a technique Strasberg forbade. I told him, marry the trauma. And he did. And the trauma killed him. That night's accident. Maybe it was an accident, maybe it wasn't. But I always blamed myself, because maybe that technique scattered him, scattered his focus, made him lose himself. And I shouldn't have given him that technique. Because some people aren't ready, and Monty wasn't ready." Today, 70 years later, that night remains a mystery. Did Brando really teach a forbidden technique? Or was it just a conversation at the wrong time with the wrong words? Was Clift's accident truly an accident? Or was it a subconscious suicide attempt, the result of marrying the trauma? The answers have never been clear. But one thing is certain. That night, the friendship between two brilliant actors changed forever. And the darkest boundary of method acting was revealed. Sometimes a technique can turn into a weapon, and using that weapon can mean killing yourself.